Hey YouTube, this is my update on my build of the two A3 Skywarriors for my USS Enterprise project. Picking up where I left off, the next video will for sure be the final one where I'll put on all the decals, do all the final detail and weathering. So I showed you the references earlier. This, while it's a 27 plane, it's that year, it's a sister plane. I'm doing the 25, which I have here in black and white. The A3 Skywarrior in action. I've got, plenty of references. I should be able to get this right. I started with the VAH-13 squadron logo decal that I made. It's a little too big. It goes from the top all the way to the bottom. It's a smidge too big. I'm gonna go back and reduce it down again. Maybe I should do this red stripe first, and then that'll give me a better idea on the VR. So I was going to make that red stripe using this as my template, this black stripe. So using that black stripe that came with the decal set, I just cut it out and traced it over a red section of the same decal to make red stripes, and they fit perfectly. There is a white 25 right here that goes over that. Ooh, it is just going to make it. Shit. I wonder if... So I have a white 1-72 US Navy lettering set, so I just cut the 25s out of there and placed those over the red stripe. Then I laid that Starfighter VR just below the red stripe. That's not bad, because here's a hinge and it's about at where the crossbar of the R is, and that's almost right on. I need 147/648, and this is 147/658. This is for the KA, and it just so happens that that's one number away, and there's a 4 there, so I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use these decals down here for in the back. Same thing, take the 4 from over here, put it in there. All right, I think I have those tails done. So that's an exact match for the EKA, so I will put those on. That 25 looks to be the same size as that 25. I have the same set in black. All right, so that's that. Now those Enterprises and that insignia, and the small 147/648. All right, that's about the best I can get it. There's the other side. Took a while, but I think I got it. Yeah, that Enterprise is smaller compared to the insignia, but it's the only one I got. I don't have any smaller than that, so I'm gonna have to go with that. It looks pretty close. Okay, so now I can start on all the common markings, so to speak. On these rescue arrows, the directions have them, especially that one, between those two round things, but here it shows that bottom one well forward of those two circles. So I think I have these right. Have everything except the engines and the walkways. In order to do these walkways, you have to cut out this space here, and that's for the light. So I want to hit actually both the lights on top there with the red. So I reprinted that logo last night and then hit it with some liquid decal film this morning. Now that I've got it where I want it, I'm gonna let that kind of dry and solidify there before I hit it with the salvo set, because I don't want the salvo set to dislodge it. Of course, on this other one, it's going to split on me. So it's the one on this side split and the one on this side split on the bottom. So this one's going to take even more work. It took me 5 tries to get 2 that I'm happy with, but I mean, it's just so hard to cut that close because it's thick. That white is thicker than the clear. That one's better, but I guess it's one of those Monet things. It looks good from far away, but not so much close up. So that is everything for the EKA. Overall, both Starfighter and the decals that came with the kit are very nice. Everything went down really well. Only a few, you know, broke or cracked or gave me any issues. And then those ones that I made, that's kind of the best I can do. Starting on the KA-3B. So I've got everything listed out between these two sets of decals. I believe I have everything I need. And then I've got my references, the GRS references, and then one I can grab and look at. So I basically just took the same approach on the KA and cut everything out and matched everything up, and then just worked my way down the side, getting everything lined up and laid down according to the references. I succeeded in getting that Hatron 2 inside the banner on the bottom. So that's a combination of the Starfighter kit decal on this side, and then I cut the words out of the banner on the homemade decal, and it worked. So I'm pretty happy. Okay, and there's the other side. Both sides are done. And the top is done. That's still drying, the walkway. Okay, there's the other one. So now I'll let both those dry. Time to apply that same wash that I did the little wings. So the way I do that is with black chalk shavings, water, and I try to like less than a half a drop of Dawn. Then I just mix all these ingredients together in a plastic cup, and then with my finest 000 brush, I just go in and fill in all the details, hit any highlights, and then go back with Q-tips and rub it all down. I just finished the chalk weathering of the EKA all the way around. Here you can see the tail, and just to give you a contrast, so there's the tail of the KA, and you can see the rivets and everything. This brings them out. I like this chalk because it keeps it subtle, because like when I look at the references, yeah, here and there you can see a panel line, but generally that's because it's a removable panel or what have you. But for the most part, these planes are clean. So I try to keep like from having the panel lines like jump out at you. I think they should be subtle, and once that's covered with dull coat, it kind of fades into the finish. So that's my technique for the effect that I like to get. I now am going to go back with the Tamiya panel line accent and get the moving panel lines, if you will. So in between those flaps where the fold is, the fold back there around these doors, these speed flaps. So one down, one to go. Mail call. And we've got a shop card from Mad Genius Productions, Joe over at Mad Genius Productions. And thank you for the kind words on the back, Joe. Joe, if you haven't been to his channel, Mad Genius Productions, it's an awesome channel. You can see here it is black and white. He does these awesome intros with this black and white footage of his subjects that he's going to build, with some really cool music. Just a super nice guy. Joe reminds me, as a Midwesterner, I think of Joe as, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, like classic old school California cool. Joe is just a totally laid back dude, an awesome modeler, and just a super nice guy. He turned me on to HLI, Hobby Link International. I did a group build with them. Just a really nice guy. So anyway, in case you can't tell, I like Joe and I like his channel. So definitely go check it out. Thanks again, Joe. Okay, there we go. Joe's card's up on the wall. Thanks again, Joe. So I kept staring at that and looking back at the model, and luckily I kept the two pieces. I had trimmed that one, and now I think it's better longer. I think I'm done. All the chalk panel line wash. Yeah, I think that'll work nice. I'm in the home stretch here. Before I do the dull coat, I do still have to do the detail painting, which is the lights, the tail hook stripes, and then inside that refueling probe receptacle. So for the lights, basically it's at the tips of the wings are blue and red, and then underneath are these two blue lights. And then also above that refueling probe receptacle, there's a blue and a red light there, and then I want to paint inside that receptacle, just black it out. After painting the black stripes on the tail hooks, I attached them with medium super glue. Then I masked the canopies with Parafilm M. Spun that around, hit that with the dull coat. This obviously has to dry. And the other one's over here. So as these are drying, I hope you can see this here. I'm real happy with the way, my folds came out. That looks like it folds, right? And that's why I went back with the Tamiya black, but then, everything else remains fairly subtle. I'm done with the detail paint, all that, the dull coat, and so now really it's just final assembly. I'm not happy with those inside edges of the red, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to try and lay down some red stripe decal along the edge there to straighten that out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And also, see anything different about those two? So this has that decal there. I did not see the instructions where before I put this on that said to put the one for that on the inside of the window. So I am going to attempt to use the Future Floor Wax to put it on the outside. We'll see. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Might as well capture the attempt for posterity. Let's see if I can flip it upside down. All right. And then it needs to go on like that. So now, oh, here goes nothing. All right, I'm just gonna let that dry like that. Early on when I was, first opened the kit and was building it, I recall it had these little things on the front, and they came off almost immediately. Went and searched and found these little tidbits. I'm just gonna cut the tips off those. I think laying that red stripe is working. And if you look at this reference, you can see on there that it wraps around and goes kind of inside. So it wraps around that lip. Okay, there we go. I'm pretty happy with that. It's better than it was. And like I said, I have references to justify it going in and around that lip. I think I have that okay now. There's the other one. I'll just paint those black. By the way, I think that worked, that decal on the back window. Next, I went around and attached all the landing gear doors with medium super glue. And finally, I attached the two refueling probes to the fronts of each plane. There's my KA-3 Skywarrior of the WWII zappers. These Hasegawa kits just build out so nice. Only, minor things needed to be fixed. That refueling probe coming out of the ECM nacelle. But other than that, just super nice kits. And I'm also happy with the way my panel lines came out and getting that top smooth. So while this spins around on the table there, let me tell you a little bit about the EKA. These things were huge. They carried a crew of 3. They were 76'4" in length, 72'6" wingspan, and a height of 22 feet 9 inches. Total wing area of 812 square feet. Gross weight 70,000 pounds. Maximum takeoff weight 82,000 pounds. And it was powered by 2 Pratt & Whitney J57 P10 turbojet engines, each putting out 10,500 pounds of thrust. Designed with nuclear attack capability in mind, the A-3 Skywarrior was one of the largest and heaviest aircraft to ever operate from an aircraft carrier. Known as the Whale, the Skywarrior was in service with the U.S. Navy for over 30 years, seeing action as a bomber, tanker, electronic warfare platform, transport, recon plane, and in other roles. Specific to the KA-3B, in the mid-60s, the U.S. Navy began to feel the need for a new ECM electronic countermeasures aircraft to replace the aging EA-1F Skyraider. They chose the biggest plane on the carrier deck at the time, the A-3 Skywarrior, and began conversions in 1967 through 68. KA-3B tanker aircraft were converted to be tanker and ECM platforms and officially designated EKA on February 16, 1967. The large blister fairings on the fore and aft of the plane, which house the ECM equipment, make it easy to identify. The aircraft is able to receive, analyze, and disrupt electronic transmissions and carries a 3-man crew of a pilot, navigator, and ECM officer. And here's my KA-3B Skywarrior of VAH-2 Royal Rampants. And again, these Hasegawa kits are just awesome. This went together really well, just like the other one, with a few minor differences here and there. The big difference on this plane was the decals. That tail decal I had from Starfighter was just one entire decal, as well as the squadron logo. I only had to make a minor change to that, which I did with a homemade decal on clear decal paper. Other than that, again, just a fun kit to put together. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. So specific to the KA-3B, in 1955, the U.S. Navy decided to make all new fighter and attack aircraft capable of in-flight refueling. And as a result, the need arose for the A-3B Skywarrior to serve in the new tanker role. Douglas installed an in-flight refueling hose reel unit, HRU, in the bomb bay of the A-3B, with a drug hose paying out through the fairing installed on the belly of the aircraft. To lower the weight of the A-3Bs mounting the HRU, nearly all equipment related to bombing missions was removed from the plane. In operation, tanker missions outnumber bombing missions by a large margin, so the Navy decided it would be more efficient to turn the plane into a dedicated tanker. 85 A-3Bs were converted to have the HRUs fixed in place and all bombing equipment permanently removed, becoming known as the KA-3B. These saw extensive service in Vietnam, helping bring home uncountable numbers of planes and pilots that were low on fuel and could not have made it home without the aid of the Whale. So just a truly awesome plane that was like a workhorse of the fleet. There they are on the shelf with their shipmates. The USS Enterprise Project gets one step closer to being complete with the EKA-3B and KA-3B. Now I still have to make the 1-700s and put those on the ship. So I hope you enjoyed that. Found that interesting, and stay tuned for the 1-700s. But in the meantime, thanks for watching and happy modeling.